Hi, my name is Becky Zielinski. I'm a master gardener in San Luis Obispo County, California. Today I'm going to talk to you about trellising and pruning cucumbers. Cucumbers are a summertime favorite. Everybody loves them in their salads and on sandwiches, and even cool, refreshing cucumber water. Cucumbers are also fun and easy to grow in your home vegetable garden. Cucumbers are a vine. If left to their own devices, they will sprawl all over your garden floor. But also because they're a vine, they're perfect for trellising, which allows you to save space in your garden. You can produce better cucumbers and use less space in your garden by growing them vertically. There are many different types of trellises to use. There's all sorts of systems, anything from a string type system or a mesh system. I've even used everything from tomato cages to wooden A-frame. The important thing is to find what works best in your garden. This year I've installed a 6-foot trellis using wooden end posts and fencing extended gauge of wire, which will give good support to the cucumbers as they grow up the trellis. With very little encouragement will naturally crawl up the trellis. However, because of the weight of the fruit, it's good to give them some support. There's many different ways you can do this. Anything from plastic tie tape and other types of clips that are available on the market. I found this clip that I really like to use. It's because it's very simple. You simply wrap it around the wire and this main stem and click. There are many good reasons to trellis and prune your cucumbers. Probably the most important reason is to make them less prone to diseases. Cucumbers that are allowed to just sprawl on the ground produce a heavy canopy. A heavy canopy traps moisture and doesn't allow for good air circulation around the base of the vine. Pruning your plants helps lower humidity in the canopy and thus reduces the conditions conducive to powdery mildew. Another way to avoid the perils of powdery mildew is to use disease-resistant plants. Trellising also allows you to plant more cucumbers in the same space, so it's a more efficient use of your space, and it allows you to have more varieties. It allows you to produce better quality fruit because the plant can expend more of its energy into producing the fruit instead of producing more vegetative growth. The fruit also stays cleaner since it's not laying on the ground, and it's easier to harvest. Before I show you how to prune your cucumbers, it's important to understand a little bit about the cucumber plant's anatomy. This is the main stem of the cucumber vine. It consists of internodes and nodes. The spaces between the nodes are the internodes. Each node has a leaf, a flower which becomes the fruit, a tendril, and a growth point. In pruning, it's these growth points that we'll be removing. It's these growth points that makes the plant overly bushy. It will then make the plant too heavy and you will not be able to support it on the trellis. A cucumber plant left to its own devices will produce many stems at the base of the plant. If you're going to trellis your cucumbers, it's important that you only leave 1 to 2 main stems to train up the trellis. So now we're ready to prune. In pruning, what you're going to do is you're going to go to the node and find the growth point. What you want to do is you want to simply pinch out the growth point. That's why it's important to do your pruning when the growth point is small. It's easier to pinch out. Learning how to prune properly will take a little bit of practice, but in no time you'll have the hang of it. When you're first getting started, when you are looking for the growth point, if you are unsure what the growth point is, just leave it and come back in a day or two, and that when the growth point has become larger. These cucumber vines are pretty small right now, but believe it or not, in a couple of weeks, they're going to be reaching the top of the trellis. What you're going to want to do when the vine gets to the top of the trellis is leave a couple of the nodes growing, and you're going to pinch off the terminal bud at the top of the vine. You'll then allow the main stem to come back over the top of the trellis, and you will continue pruning in the same manner. So there you have it. That's how you trellis and prune cucumber vines. As I mentioned before, it's a little more time consuming than just allowing them to sprawl all over the ground. However, it doesn't take too much time to come out every day and pinch out the new growth. There are a couple of cons to trellising your cucumbers. Primarily, the vines produce less fruit, but again, you can mitigate that because you can plant more plants in the same space. The other major con is the cost of the trellis. Once again, I'm Becky Zielinski. I thank you for taking your time for watching this video, which is brought to you courtesy of the San Luis Obispo County Master Gardener Program, offered through the University of California Agriculture and Natural Resources. Good luck with your cucumbers and happy gardening!